I love him better every day. I love him better every day. Close by his side, I will abide. I love him better every day. Welcome to Call for Wisdom because today I'm going to give the Most High all the glory. My mother has passed away, my dear mother, last week. And I love her so much, but I love my king. I love my family. And there is a family reunion being called right now, my sisters and my brothers. All of you who are members of the Abraham's kingdom, all of you who are members of Yah's kingdom, birthed through Abraham, birthed through the promise of Abraham that his descendants would come through his seed, all of the nations, through this one man who obeyed. That's where the gospel message started. That's where it all began. And I am a member of his family. And his wife, Sarah, is my mother. And I call her part of me as well because I got joined onto the tree, this great, great polygynous family tree. And this is what we're talking about today: polygyny, biblical polygyny. If you don't know what it is, first of all, welcome to Call for Wisdom. The theme of my little Call for Wisdom is always about women, sisters, talking about Yah and about biblical marriage, and a whole lot of talk about polygyny. Polygyny is one man with many, many wives, right? A man's ability and right to have more than one wife. And this is how Yah formed his family. Like it or not, those of you who are hung up on monogamy and want to crucify me, don't matter. You will face it when you get to the finish line. If you get to the finish line. And we're going to talk about that today because I sure plan to get to the finish line. My mother has graduated this week. Boy, did she. Listen, people, my mother was a missionary. She was a hard prayer warrior. She was raising me in the faith. She was married. She was a widow for a long, long time, but she had truly, truly served the world and showed me so much. And I have so much to be grateful for. But the number one thing that my mother did for me was teach me Yah's word and let me know about the family that I was birthed into. And she and my father raised me to be a member of Abraham's family, the member of his household, which is a polygynous household, when I tell you. Because I was asking AI, if we have a family tree, which we do, you and I all have family trees, and we can go back all the way to Adam. But I'm going to start from Abraham, right? If we have a family tree where polygyny happens, a couple of the men were monogamous, some of them were celibates, some of them died, didn't have any kids at all, right? Some of them only had one wife, some had two, some had three, some had 800, you know? Yeah, polygyny. And even in the Caribbean, that's where I'm from. You know, I we have polygyny. Even in Africa, we have polygyny. So how many of my forefathers had to be polygynous? I asked ChatGPT. I wanted to know, like, can I stand here on the internet and say I came from a polygynous tree, family tree, that my family is polygynous, and that I am going to go into a kingdom full of family members, uncles and aunts. And oh, I'm so looking forward to it because it is real. And I know I'm going to see them again. I know I'm going to see my mom, but I know I'm going to pass through these gates, and these gates are going to be named by 12 men from 12 tribes who were birthed by four baby mamas from one man called Jacob who married every one of them and had babies. And none of them, my sisters, are illegitimate. They are all legitimate, and they have their sign, they have their name over the gate. And if you and I want to get into it, darn it, whether you like it or not, you got to admit it is a polygynous household. We are family. Me, Abraham, Sarah, Leah, me. I gotta make that song too. Listen, girls, get out of it, snap out of it. It's not about monogamy, but it's also about the fact that we are really, really family. And I love my big, big polygynous family. I love it. Listen, I asked ChatGPT, that's my question. What percentage of men in a polygynous family tree needs to have had multiple wives to qualify it to be declared polygynous? Right? Legitimate question, right? Because all of you say you came from monogamy. And all of you, a lot of you think that that is like the thing to boast your monogamy only flag. Like you, all the men in your family were monogamous. And we call it by many because in households in Torah are accounted to predominantly through the man. So, anyways, here we go. So, the short answer it says for more than 50% of the male heads in the family lineage had two or more wives. That family tree can rightly be called polygynous because polygyny is the dominant marital status, not the exception. So you got to think of it like this. In the same way that a nation can be called a Christian nation, if most of the laws, the customs, and the leaders identified with Christianity, even not every person, a family tree can be called polygynous if the majority of its foundational men engaged or led polygynous households. That's the core structure. That's polygynous family. So our biblical examples are the nations of Israel is the polygynous covenant made through design, by design, intentionally through Abraham. This is not a mistake. Y'all had a great plan for his kingdom, for his son Yeshua to take and dominate it and to rule over it. And it started with Abraham, right? And so Abraham had multiple wives and concubines, Sarah and Hagar and Keturah. Forgive me, I'm not really good at pronouncing biblical names and others, right? Jacob had four wives, and all 12 tribes of Israel came from those four nations. Moses and David and Solomon and Gideon and Elkanah and Samuel's father. Oh, there's so many. There are so many. And if you want to catch up, I got some of them, just some of them listed on my community post. The last one, check it out. The Bible is predominantly a history, a genealogy of polygynous men. And if you don't know if they had more wives, it's out of silence that you're insisting that it's monogamous, right? Just because the story was about, for example, Boaz and Ruth, right? Just because the love story about how Boaz rescued and played the kingsman redeemer with Ruth does not mean that Boaz didn't have other wives or concubines. As a matter of fact, the scripture there says that he had maid servants, and he was obviously a man in eldership position because he was rich and he had the wealth. And if you had the wealth in those days, don't tell me he's celibate and he's waiting for Ruth to come along in his late years. He had opportunities to be married. He had maid servants. Maid servants, those curvy young things that are fertile. Yeah, I highly doubt that Boaz was monogamous. But again, if you think so, it's arguing out of silence. It's not. Silence doesn't mean it's monogamous. It just means it wasn't important in the story because the story was about Ruth and Naomi, not about the other wives. And so when the Most High puts the important stuff in the scriptures for us, what we need to know. The rest, the daughters, the sons, the wives are in irrelevant in a sense to the storyline. Not that they're not important, but they're not relevant to the story I'm telling you. They don't have to list it. Like I have a lot of siblings. I came from a big family. My don't need to spill it all on the internet. I won't do that. So hold off. You're not going to get that much about me, but still, I have a lot of siblings, and for me to say that I'm going to say I have a sister, and I tell you about the sister that I have, because I do, I have a sister. I throw out a name there, right? Doesn't mean I don't have 10 or 20 more. You don't know. But I'm talking about the sister that I have, right? Just because I didn't mention the other mothers that my family would have had, it's not relevant. So in the scripture, it was always focusing on the relevant parties, and it's particularly to the storyline. Sometimes they would say he had other male servants, concubines. They don't even list the names, right? They don't even go there. And a lot of times they just list the males. A lot of times in the genealogy, and they will say, and then he had also more sons and daughters. You know what I mean, because we're talking Torah, and I'm doing a Bible study here. By the way, hi, my name is Deborah, and if you like it so far, I think you like to talk with me. Just take a like here and check it. And listen, I'm running on the fact that I'm called for this moment to encourage my sisters to find shelter. Get yourself inside under the headship of a man. And right now, Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1 is in effect, right? We're living in the last days. And in order for you to find a proper husband to cover you, to spiritually cover you, to provide for you, Some of you don't need that financial supervision, but you definitely need that spiritual covering. And you need to have sex, and you need to bear children, and you need to be inside and work and get along with a man, and stop telling me you're independent, and stop telling me you're married to Jesus, because that's not true, right? You are made for Adam, my sisters. You were made for a man. And you need to find yourself inside the kingdom hierarchy of things. And a lot of you know that there are married men who are Yah fearing, who are waking up, and they're going to wake up, right? And they're going to start approaching you, like I keep on saying, for commitment of marriage, to commit you to and tell you, I want you to come into my covering commitment. And just because they have otherwise, biblically speaking, they have a right to ask you, your father for you, or your head for you, and take you in. And you might be wife number 4, 5, 6, 7. You most likely won't be wife number one. That is fine, as long as you're inside. Bear children, work with the man, get yourself busy for the kingdom. Don't fiddle, fiddle, thumb. Pop out some babies and raise them in the kingdom to be Yah fearing, godly sons and daughters. This is evangelism Abraham style. This is evangelism David style. It wasn't really about going open air and singing a whole bunch of songs. It wasn't about throwing pamphlets around and saying, the the secret that the Christians like to say, this repeat after me, I believe in the Son, I believe, a whole bunch of believing stuff. It's about raising children to fear Yah, to obey the commandments, to to definitely go to Yeshua for forgiveness, and to turn our lives around, because we know that we have to obey the commandments and follow Yeshua in the example. And it is so much possible to do that. It's not complicated. But my mother showed me the way in that regard. And I'm so happy for her, because she graduated this week. I mean, she kind of she graduated on her knees praying. And if anybody knows my mom, that's how she lived her life, praying, taking care of the widows, the orphans, feeding those sheep that Yeshua wants us to feed. And she got her graduation. I want to get there. I want to get through the kingdom. And when I get through the kingdom, when I get to the gates of these kingdom and I see the 12, and I don't know which one I'm supposed to walk through, because you can really just walk through one gate at a time. So I guess I'm just assuming, there's nothing in scripture, that it depends on what tribe your lineage is from. Maybe, maybe not, maybe it doesn't matter. But I'll walk through a gate, and any gate I pick, one of them, doesn't matter which one, there will be a name of a, a member: Benjamin, Simeon, Nathaniel, one of the tribes, Judah, Levi, one of the tribes. I'm going to get through. I'm planning to. I hope you are too. Follow the Torah instructions. Follow, obey the commandments. Do the will of the Father. Feed the sheep. Love the poor. Take care of the widows. Bear children and get yourself inside. That's simple. Stop wasting the time in the world playing bad, you know, running after the bag, being feminist, trying to waste your life doing what? Getting bank accounts for retirement. And then when you turn 70, you're just going to pop over and die anyway. And you have nothing to show for it, nothing at all, because you didn't fulfill your role as a woman, which you had opportunities galore to fulfill. Majority of the sisters I'm talking to, opportunities galore to turn off the TikTok, get off the Facebook, and stop wasting time, raise children to fear Yah. That is your mission. Get along with a man, do your job, and get yourself through the gates like my dear mother just did. And man, did she beat me to it. She's an amazing woman. I'm going to miss her so much. But I'm excited because I know that I'll get there. She just happened to get there before me. You know? Yeah. Love you, Mom. Love you guys too. Hit a like, subscribe, all the best. We're going to continue talking about getting through the gates, and it's a polygynous gates, like polygynous gates. hmm My mother figured it out when she got there. She knew I was right about that one, at least. Blessings, everybody.